Hello, thank you for joining me today. We're reading through A Course in Miracles. I know some of you are finding this material difficult, and I have to agree. I'm finding the material difficult myself. A lot of the double negatives make it very hard to sort out what's being said. The very patriarchal way that it's written makes it difficult to sort out what's being said. And as we were discussing in the Humanities Team Conversations with God book club this morning that I read for, it doesn't necessarily seem as if the people who were the channels for this material, they may not have been the clearest channels possible. And it does seem as if there is some additional noise, if you will, that needs to be filtered out from this material as we're reading it. So we're going to dive into chapter 13, the next sections. So last Sunday we read the introduction through section 4. We're going to start out with chapter 13 today, picking up on section 5, which is the function of time. So chapter 13 in A Course in Miracles is the guiltless world. Section 5 starts out the function of time. And now the reason why you are afraid of this course should be apparent. For this is a course on love, because it is about you. You have been told that your function in this world is healing, and your function in heaven is creating. The ego teaches you that your function on earth is destruction, and you have no function at all in heaven. It would thus destroy you here and bury you here, leaving you no inheritance except the dust out of which it thinks you were made. As long as it is reasonably satisfied with you, as its reasoning goes, it offers you oblivion. When it becomes overtly savage, it offers you hell. Yet neither oblivion nor hell is as unacceptable to you as heaven. Your definition of heaven is hell and oblivion, and the real heaven is the greatest threat you think you can experience. For hell and oblivion are ideas that you made up, and you are bent on demonstrating their reality to establish yours. If their reality is questioned, you believe that yours is. For you believe that attack is your reality, and that your destruction is the final proof that you were right. Under the circumstances, would it not be more desirable to have been wrong, even apart from the fact that you were wrong? While it could perhaps be argued that death suggests there was life, no one could claim that it proves there is life. Even the past life that death might indicate could only have been futile if it must come to this and needs this to prove that it was at all. You question heaven, but you do not question this yet. You could heal and be healed if you did question it. And even though you know not heaven, might it not be more desirable than death? You have been as selective in your questioning as in your perception. An open mind is more honest than this. The ego has a strange notion of time, and it is with this notion that your questioning might well begin. The ego invests heavily in the past, and in the end believes that the past is the only aspect of time that is meaningful. Remember that its emphasis on guilt enables it to ensure its continuity by making the future like the past and thus avoiding the present. But the notion of paying for the past in the future, the past becomes the determinator of the future, making them continuous without an intervening present. For the ego regards the present only as a brief transition to the future, in which it brings the past to the future by interpreting the present in past terms. Now has no meaning to the ego. The present merely reminds it of past hurts, and it reacts to the present as if it were the past. The ego cannot tolerate these release from the past, and although the past is over, the ego tries to preserve its image by responding as if it were present. It dictates your reactions to those you meet in the present from a past reference point, obscuring their present reality. In effect, if you follow the ego's dictates, you will react to your brother as if he were someone else, and this will surely prevent you from recognizing him as he is. And you will receive messages from him out of your own past. By making it real in the present, you are forbidding yourself to let go. You thus deny yourself the message of release that every brother offers you now. The shadow figures from the past are precisely what you must escape. They are not real and have no hold over you unless you bring them with you. They carry the spots of pain in your mind, directing you to attack in the present in retaliation for a past that is no more. And this decision is one of future pain. Unless you learn that past pain is an illusion, you are choosing a future of illusions and losing the many opportunities you could find for release in the present. The ego would preserve your nightmares and prevent you from awakening and understanding they are past. Would you recognize a holy encounter if you were merely perceiving it as a meeting with your own past? For you would be meeting no one and the sharing of salvation, which makes the encounter holy, would be excluded from your sight. The Holy Spirit teaches you that you always meet yourself, and in the encounter is holy because you are. The ego teaches you you always encounter your past, and because your dreams are not holy, the future cannot be, and the present is without meaning. I want to just pause for a moment and say that I think many of us have the experience of getting into an argument with somebody and they will bring up something from the past, and that's what's hurting them, is this thing that happened some other time or some other thing that you did that was wrong, but it was in the past. So, really working with this and realizing there is no such thing as time. And so whenever we're doing that, whenever we're living in the past, in the present moment, we're doing something that's not helping us at all. We're casting ourselves backward in time, when in fact there is no backward in time. So I know these aren't easy concepts to wrap your mind around, but it's really a very critical piece here that we're talking about. Okay, reading on. It is evident that the Holy Spirit's perception of time is the exact opposite of the ego's. The reason is equally clear, for they perceive the goal of time as diametrically opposed. The Holy Spirit interprets time's purpose as rendering the need for time unnecessary. He regards the function of time as temporary, serving only his teaching function, which is temporary by definition. His emphasis is therefore on the only aspect of time that can extend to the infinite for now. For now is the closest approximation of eternity that this world offers. It is in the reality of now, without past or future, that the beginning of the appreciation of eternity lies. For only now is here, and only now presents the opportunities for the holy encounters in which salvation can be found. The ego, on the other hand, regards the function of time as one of extending itself in place of eternity. For like the Holy Spirit, the ego interprets the goal of time as its own. The continuity of past and future under its direction is the only purpose the ego perceives in time, and it closes over the present so that no gap in its own continuity can occur. Its continuity, then, would keep you in time, while the Holy Spirit would release you from it. It is his interpretation of the means of salvation that you must learn to accept if you would share his goal of salvation for you. You too will interpret the function of time as you interpret yours. If you accept your function in the world of time as one of healing, you will emphasize only the aspect of time in which healing can occur. Healing cannot be accomplished in the past. It must be accomplished in the present to release the future. This interpretation ties the future to the present and extends the present rather than the past. But if you interpret your function as destruction, you will lose sight of the present and hold on to the past to ensure a destructive future. And time will be as you interpret it, for of itself it is nothing. Reading on. Chapter 13, The Guiltless World, Section 6, The Two Emotions. I have said you have but two emotions, love and fear. One is changeless, but continually exchanged, being offered by the eternal to the eternal. In this exchange, it is extended, for it increases as it is given. The other has many forms, for the content of individual illusions differs greatly. Yet they have one thing in common. They are all insane. They are made of sights that are not seen and sounds that are not heard. They make up a private world that cannot be shared, for they are meaningful only to their maker, and so they have no meaning at all. In this world, their maker moves alone, for only he perceives them. Each one peoples his world with figures of his individual past. And it is because of that private world, it is because of this that private worlds do differ. I'm going to read that sentence again. It was a little tricky. Each one peoples his world with figures from his individual past. And it is because of this that private worlds do differ. Yet the figures that he sees were never real, for they were made up only of his reactions to his brothers, and do not include their reactions to him. Therefore, he does not see them. He does not see that he made them, and that they are not whole. For these figures have no witnesses, being perceived in one separate mind only. It is through these strange and shadowy figures that the sane, insane relate to their insane world. For they see only those who remind them of these images, and it is to them that they relate. Thus do they communicate with those who are not there, and it is they who answer them. And so no one hears their answer save him who called upon them, and he alone believes they answered him. Projection makes perception, and you cannot see beyond it. Again and again have you attacked your brother, because you saw him in a shadow figure in your private world. And thus it is you must attack yourself first, for what you attack is not in others. Its only reality is in your own mind, and by attacking others, you are literally attacking what is not there. The delusional can be very destructive, for they do not recognize they have condemned themselves. They do not wish to die, yet they will not let condemnation go. And so they separate into their private worlds, where everything is disordered, and where what is within appears to be without. Yet what is within they do not see, for the reality of their brothers they cannot recognize. You have but two emotions, yet in your private world you reach to each of them as though it were the other. For love cannot abide in a world apart, where when it comes it is not recognized. If you see your own hatred as your brother, you are not seeing him. Everyone draws nigh unto what he loves and recoils from what he fears. And you react with fear to love and draw away from it. Yet fear attracts you, and believing it is love, you call it to yourself. Your private world is filled with figures of fear you have invited into it, and all the love your brothers offer you, you do not see. As you look with open eyes upon your world, it might occur to you that you have withdrawn into insanity. You see what is not there, and you hear what makes no sound. Your manifestations of emotions are the opposite of what the emotions are. You communicate with no one, and you are as isolated from reality as if you were alone in all the universe. In your madness, you overlook reality completely, and you see only your own split mind everywhere you look. God calls you, and you do not hear, for you are preoccupied with your own voice, and the vision of Christ is not in your sight for you to look upon yourself alone. Little child, would you offer this to your Father? For if you offer it to yourself, you are offering it to him, and he will not return it, for it is unworthy of you, because it is unworthy of him. Yet he would release you from it and set you free. His sane answer tells you what you have offered yourself is not true, but his offering to you has never changed. You who know not what you do can learn what insanity is and look beyond it. It is given you to learn how to deny insanity and come forth from your private world in peace. You will see that what you denied in your brothers you will see all that you denied in your brothers because you denied it in yourself. For you will love them, and by drawing nigh into them, you will draw them to yourself, perceiving them as witnesses to the reality you share with God. I am with them as I am with you, and we will draw them from their private worlds, for as we are united, so would we unite with them. The Father welcomes all of us in gladness, and gladness is what we should offer him. For every son of God is given you to whom God gave himself, and it is God whom you must offer them to recognize his gift to you. Vision depends on light. You cannot see in darkness. Yet in darkness, in the private world of sleep, you see in dreams, although your eyes are closed. And it is here that what you see you made. But let the darkness go, and all you made will no longer see, for sight of it depends on denying vision. Yet from denying vision, it does not follow you cannot see. But this is what denial does, for by it you accept insanity, believing you can make a private world and rule your own perception. Yet for this, light must be excluded. Dreams disappear when light has come and you can see. Do not seek vision through your eyes, for you made your way of seeing that you might see in darkness, and in this you are deceived. Beyond this darkness, and yet still within you, is the vision of Christ, who looks on all in light. Your vision comes from fear, as his from love, and he sees for you as your witness to the real world. He is the only Spirit, the Holy Spirit's manifestation, looking always on the real world and calling forth its witnesses and drawing them to you. He loves what he sees within you, and he would extend it, and he will not return unto the Father until he has extended your perception even unto him. And there perception is no more, for he has returned you to the Father with him. You have but two emotions, and one you made, and one is given to you. Each is a way of seeing, and different worlds arise from their different sights. See through the vision that is given you, for through Christ's vision he beholds himself. And seeing what he is, he knows his Father. Beyond your darkest dreams, he sees God's guiltless Son within you, shining in perfect radiance that is undimmed by your dreams. And this you will see as you look with him, for his vision is his gift of love to you, given him of the Father for you. The Holy Spirit is the light in which Christ stands revealed, and all who would behold him can see him, for they have asked for light. Nor will they see him alone, for he is no more alone than they are. Because they saw the Son, they have risen in him to the Father. And all this will they understand, because they looked within and saw beyond the darkness the Christ in them and recognized him. In the sanity of his vision, they looked upon themselves with love, seeing themselves as the Holy Spirit sees them. And this vision of the truth in them came all the beauty of the world to shine upon them. Chapter 13, The Guiltless World, Section 7, Finding the Present. To perceive truly is to be aware of all reality through the awareness of your own. But for this, no illusions can rise to meet your sight, for reality leaves no room for any error. This means that you perceive a brother only as you see him now. His past has no reality in the present, so you cannot see it. Your past reactions to him are also not there, and if it is to them that you react, you see but an image of him that you made and cherish instead of him. In your questioning of illusions, ask yourself if it is really sane to perceive what was as now. If you remember the past, as you look upon your brother, you will be unable to perceive the reality that is now. You consider it natural to use your past experience as the reference point from which to judge the present. Yet this is unnatural because it is delusional. When you have learned to look on everyone with no reference at all to the past, either his or yours, as you perceived it, you will be able to learn from what you see now. For the past can cast no shadow to darken the present unless you are afraid of light. And only if you are would you choose to bring darkness with you by holding it in your mind. See it as a dark cloud that shrouds your brothers and conceals their reality from your sight. The darkness is in you. The Christ as revealed to you now has no past, for he is changeless, and in his changelessness lies your release. For he is as he was created. There is no guilt in him. No cloud of guilt has risen to obscure him, and he stands revealed in everyone you meet because you see him through yourself. To be born again is to let the past go and look without condemnation upon the present. The cloud that obscures God's Son to you is the past, and if you would have it past and gone, you must not see it now. If you see now in your illusions, it has not gone from you, although it is not there. Time can release as well as imprison, depending on whose interpretation of it you use. Past, present, and future are not continuous unless you force continuity on them. You can perceive them as continuous and make them so for you, but do not be deceived and then believe that this is how it is. For to believe reality is what you would have it be, according to your use for it, is delusional. You would destroy time's continuity by breaking it into past, present, and future for your own purposes. You would anticipate the future on the basis of your experience and plan for it accordingly. Yet by doing so, you are aligning past and future and not allowing the miracle, which could intervene between them, to free you to be born again. The miracle enables you to see your brother without his past, and so perceive him as born again. His errors are all past, and by perceiving him without them, you are releasing him. And since his past is yours, you share in this release. Let no dark cloud out of your past obscure him from you, for truth lies only in the present, and you will find it if you seek it there. You have looked for it where it is not, and therefore have not found it. Learn then to seek it where it is, and it will dawn on eyes that see. Your past was made in anger, and if you use it to attack the present, you will not see the freedom that the present holds. Judgment and condemnation are behind you, and unless you bring them with you, you will see that you are free of them. Look lovingly on the present, for it holds the only things that are forever true. All healing lies within it, because its continuity is real. It extends to all aspects of the sonship at the same time, and thus enables them to reach each other. The present is before time was. The present is before time was, and will be when time is no more. In it are all things that are eternal, and they are one. Their continuity is timeless, and their communication is unbroken, for they are not separated by the past. Only the past can separate, and it is nowhere. The present offers you your brothers in the light that would unite you with them and free you from the past. Would you then hold the past against them? For if you do, you are choosing to remain in the darkness that is not there, and refusing to accept the light that is offered you. For the light of perfect vision is freely given as it is freely received, and can be accepted only without limit. In this one, still dimension of time does not change, and where there is no sight of what you were, you look at Christ and call his witness to shine on you because you called them forth. And they will not deny the truth in you because you looked for it in them and found it there. Now is the time for salvation, for now is the release from time. Reach out to all your brothers and touch them with the touch of Christ. In this timeless union with them is your continuity, unbroken because it is wholly shared. God's guiltless Son is only light. There is no darkness in him anywhere, for he is whole. Call all your brothers to witness to his wholeness, as I am calling you to join with me. Each voice has a part in the song of redemption, the hymn of gladness and thanksgiving for the light to the Creator of light. The holy light that shines forth from God's Son is the witness that his light is of his Father. Shine on your brothers in remembrance of your Creator, for you will remember him as you call forth the witness to his creation. Those whom you heal bear witness to your healing, for in their wholeness, you will see your own. And as your hymns of praise and gladness rise to your Creator, he will return your thanks in his clear answer to your call. For it can never be that his Son called upon him and remained unanswered. His call to you is but your call to him, and in him you are answered by his peace. Child of light, you do not know that the light is in you, yet you will find it through its witness, for having given light to them, they will return it. Each one you see in light brings your light closer to your awareness. Love always leads to love. The sick who ask for love are grateful for it, and in their joy they shine with holy thanks. And this they offer you who gave them joy. They are your guides to joy, for having received it of you, they would keep it. You have established them as guides to peace, for you have made it manifest in them. And seeing it, its beauty calls you home. There is a light that this world cannot give, yet you can give it, as it was given you. And as you give it, it shines forth to call you from the world and follow it. For this light will attract you as nothing in this world can do, and you will lay aside the world and find another. This other world is bright with love which you have given it. And here will everything remind you of your Father and his Holy Son. Light is unlimited and spreads across this world in quiet joy. For those you brought with you will shine on you, and you will shine on them in gratitude because they brought you here. Your light will join with theirs in power so compelling that it will draw the others out of darkness as you look on them. Awakening unto Christ is following the laws of love of your free will and out of quiet recognition of the truth in them. The attraction of light must draw you willingly, and willingness is signified by giving. Those who accept love of you become your willing witness to the love you gave them, and it is they who hold it out to you. In sleep you are alone, and your awareness is narrowed to yourself, and that is why the nightmares come. You dream of isolation because your eyes are closed. You do not see your brothers, and in the darkness you cannot look upon the light you gave them. And yet the laws of love are not suspended while you sleep, and you have followed them through all your nightmares and have been faithful in your giving, for you were not alone. Even in sleep has Christ protected you, ensuring the real world for you when you awake. In your name he has given for you and given you the gifts he gave. God's Son is still as loving as his Father. Continuous with his Father, he has no past apart from him. So he has never ceased to be his Father's witness and his own. Although he slept, Christ's vision did not leave him. And so it is that he can call upon himself the witnesses that teach him that he never slept. So I think we'll pause here and resume chapter 13 next Sunday. We've read several sections here, 5, 6, and 7. And I think that's enough for now. We will resume with sections 8 through hopefully 12 next Sunday. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a good day with this today. And if you need me, reach out to me, 907-351-3003, or message me on Facebook or YouTube. I'll see you here tomorrow. Thanks again. I'll see you here tomorrow for the daily lessons, and we'll see you here next Sunday for the rest of chapter 13. Namaste.